Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I am back with another speed build, and we are creating a home for a dark fairy. Ever since Enchanted by Nature came out, or ever since I got my hands on the pack, I have been in awe of all of the dark swatches on the wallpapers, the furniture, the roof shingles, particularly like the black and purples, and I haven't built anything with them yet. So I really wanted to do something like that today, especially because I had a ton of suggestions in the comments to create something for a dark fairy, or kind of mixing the Enchanted by Nature items with Realm of Magic and make it more of a witchy looking house, but for fairies, or it could be for either or both. Maybe you have a couple that one of them is a fairy and the other one is a spellcaster. This could probably be a good home for them. It is only a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom home, but I think it came out really cute and I'm really excited to share it with you. So if you do like this one and you'd like to download it for yourself, it is available right now on the Sims 4 gallery. You can find it under my EA ID, which is Gryphi, Gryphi. You can also find it under the hashtag Gryphi, and that information will be in the description down below as well. And if you haven't already, if you're thinking about picking up the Enchanted by Nature expansion pack, please consider using my code Gryphi at checkout. You just enter it when making a purchase on the EA app, and it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does support me as a creator. So thank you so much for considering, and thanks to EA for sponsoring this portion of the video. So the shape of this house actually took some fiddling, because at first I was thinking it was just going to be a 1-story home, but then I decided to tuck in an upstairs, and so I'm adjusting the roof accordingly. And I decided to go for more of a pointy roof on this one. I know the last few builds have been more curved roofs, because that's a lot of what you see in this world of Innisgreen, but for some reason when I think of fairies, I think of more pointy roofs, so that's what I decided to do here today, and I thought it worked really nice with the dark color scheme that I was going for. But I did use these more like natural looking windows that have moss and stuff growing on them, and some more of this like twisted wood pattern on the spandrels and the columns. I think it is so pretty. So just figuring out that little front porch area now, and the actual chimney moves a few different times. I really wanted to have a prominent chimney on the front of the house, and sometimes I feel like that works out so nicely, but today it wasn't. So I do end up moving it, and it's just kind of like protruding out of the roof on one of the sides. It's not on the exterior really. You'll see what I mean in a little bit, but here I am just pulling some more of the walls and adding more of the fence on the front, and realizing that there was something a little bit off about the shape. So I decided to extend it over on this side, and I feel like that really helped. And I ended up actually moving the bump out that I have over on the left side of the build to be more in the front here. I thought it looked really cute, and I was very happy with that decision. That ends up being in the upstairs bedroom, which I guess is sort of like a lofted bedroom. I don't have like a big space to look down to the bottom floor, but there isn't a door to the bedroom. You walk up the steps and you're in it. And the only bathroom is also upstairs as well. But this is pretty much the final shape we're going to be going with. So I am now going through and placing some more of the windows, and then we'll probably be playing with the wallpaper for a while. I believe I cut out a lot of the process because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I did end up using a lot of this purple wallpaper in the end, as we did get a ton of new purple items in this new pack, which is a swatch we just don't have a lot of in the game. So I did use this like dragon scale wallpaper in purple, and I broke it up a little bit with a paneling in a black swatch. I believe that one is from Horse Ranch that I grabbed, but I might be wrong. I might have grabbed a different one. And then I am now moving into furnishing this during a different time of day, so you can see the true colors a little bit better. And I just think it looks so beautiful, adding lots of different pieces of wisteria that came with the pack. I also got this like faux balcony up above the front porch. I think it looks really nice. And then moving inside, I wanted to extend upstairs a little bit to make sure I could fit a double bed. So I will be doing that, and then placing a random one down and adjusting as necessary to make it a little bit bigger. And it takes a long time before I realized that I didn't go ahead and paint that section on the outside and add a roof to it. So I know right now you're like probably screaming at your screen, you didn't paint that, as soon as I move on from here, but I do notice later on and I do fix that. So no worries there, but now the upstairs is big enough for a double bed, and I'm trying to figure out our stair placement. They end up being like curved around a corner and in this back section here, which I feel like I do a lot in homes like this. It just ends up being the best way to utilize the space upstairs. So that's what I did here, and you can see where I separated into that smaller bathroom, and then over here in this little nook is going to be where the kitchen is. Of course, I am using the new kitchen set again. I feel like in last video I was like, I'm probably not going to build more fairy homes, and I'm probably not going to use this kitchen set very much anymore. And here I am building another fairy home because I was like, wait, I didn't do a dark fairy one yet. So I was wrong, but that's okay. I am working on some other builds right now that are not fairy themed that I'm really excited about. I'm just struggling a little bit with some of the shapes. I'm playing around with some of the glass walls and it's been quite fun. So hopefully some of that will be out on the channel sometime this week. But anyway, moving on into our living room now. Of course, we are using the new sofa. I love this swatch of it with the purples and the like grayish black, the beautiful green throw blanket. I just think it is absolutely stunning. And then I am trying to figure out what wallpaper I want to use in here. I just kind of start by making all of the walls this purple color. And then I go back and change some of them a little bit later. And I actually end up using quite a bit of this one, which is from the pack that has some sort of like greenish teal moss on it. I think it's really interesting and it just gave a little bit more interest to the interior. So I do end up doing that in the end. I also end up changing the swatch of these accent walls that have the moss and the stone on them. I think they're really pretty, but I didn't think they were the correct swatch. And so a little bit later on, I will be swapping them all out for a different version. And I think it looks so much better. But the kitchen is fairly small, but I felt like I was able to do a lot with it. It has lots of counter space for you to utilize. And I don't fully decorate it right now, but I do come back and add some more decorations later. And I absolutely needed to use this mirror from Werewolves, the crescent moon with the crystals. It's the prettiest mirror in the game, so it had to be in here. I also added some herbs hanging up in the kitchen and a little painting above it. Those are both from Realm of Magic, and I thought that this rug from Vampires matched so perfectly, so added that in here. And then this is our little entryway area, which we'll be coming back to later, but here in the living room, I immediately knew I wanted to use this artwork above the couch that came with the Secret Sanctuary kit. It's beautiful. I want it in real life. I say this every time I place it down. I just think it's absolutely stunning. I love the shapes of the frames. I love the prints. It's kind of the exact vibe that I want in my home. So had to use it here. And then I am grabbing a rug from Crystal Creations. And I also have some curtains here from Paranormal. And these are the new shelves from the latest Enchanted by Nature expansion pack. Honestly, so many of these packs just work so nicely together. And it was a blast decorating this space. I had so much fun. I just couldn't stop when I was in this room in particular, like cluttering up these shelves. So I got this little terrarium full of crystals. There ends up being a lot of little knickknacks from Paranormal up here. I have some books and plants, and it was just really cool decorating these spaces and like kind of curating it. Oh, I also use this side table, which I think is also from Paranormal. It's a mirrored side table that I almost never use in the game. I always forget it exists. But since I was filtered by Paranormal to begin with, I decided to grab that, and I thought it looked really pretty over in the corner. It will have a pile of books on it as well, but we're just finishing decorating these shelves now. I got a little plant up there, and then on the top, after I grab a painting here, we're going to have a couple more items. I end up having a music box, which I want to say was like an early purchase thing. I might be wrong. I just know it came with Life and Death. It might not have been early purchase, though. It might have been like something that's unlocked through the Grimm career. I'm not entirely sure, but I thought it looked really nice there. And here are those books that I had mentioned. I also have a tea set on the coffee table, so your Sims can use that. I thought that that was really pretty. And then there's a little bit of a cabinet in here that has all sorts of like potions and stuff. That is also from Realm of Magic. I also decided to try to use a Realm of Magic chair here. It just felt like it was too washed out, and I ended up going with one from the new pack instead, as it has a more colorful pillow on it. And I tried to use that shelf as well from Paranormal, and it just wasn't working in this space, but I do put it in the little office. You would have seen me just move it over into the other room quickly there. And it ends up working really nicely in there. So moving into that office now, I added a window behind the desk. This is the new desk. I think it's really pretty, specifically in this dark swatch. I'm not sure how often I will use it, but I did like it in this space. So just placing down a rug in here and then playing around with that accent wall, the stone wall again. And this is the room where I do end up changing the swatch of it at some point, and then I change it in the rest of the home. So that should be happening here shortly. But I'm just getting some curtains and some other decorations. I got a really cute office chair to put at the desk. I believe that one's also from Crystal Creations. I might be wrong, but I think it's a really nice piece. And here I am playing with the swatch, and I just think this one's so much better, especially because it has little flower pieces on it that are in that sort of purple swatch. So it worked so much nicer in the entire build. And this is where I realized, oh, I didn't roof this section. Oops. So I'm just going through and adding the wallpaper there, and I'll add windows as we get upstairs into that area. Anyway, just decorating the desk now. I did grab a plant and a little notebook for your Sims to write in. And then for a computer, it's this one that looks kind of like a typewriter from Cottage Living. I also got a bookcase in here and another window, and that should be pretty much it for this office space. It's a really small room, and it's one you could definitely repurpose into a small kids' bedroom if you decide to have your Sims have kids, if pregnancy gets fixed in the game. Apparently that has been broken. I've been seeing a lot of people posting about it, so that's really interesting. Anyway, by the front door here, I did grab a place to hang up your coats, and I got a couple of brooms as well, so if you want your Sims to be a spellcaster in this house, they have a place to hang up their brooms, and then just getting a little like welcome mat, essentially, like a place to wipe off your shoes when you walk in. And I thought about putting a small table in this area because I realized I didn't have one, and it just felt too cramped, so I start to place it down, but then I move it out onto the front porch. So if your Sims want to sit down at a table with food, they're going to have to go out there to do it. But I think that's okay because there's plenty of cozy spaces in here, and you could just sit on the couch or on the front porch. So that's what ended up happening there. And then I just wanted to make sure we got a burglar alarm and a thermostat and all of that here, plus a fire alarm because Sims are very good at starting fires. And then I did add a little stand here for plants. And I put a couple of the new planters that came with this pack so you can have your own indoor house plants. I didn't put any plants in them though, so that way it's just kind of ready for your Sims to add whatever they'd like and grow whatever they'd like instead of me pre-picking those for you. So that is all set, and now we are upstairs and about to work on the primary bedroom. I started by adding a fence so your Sims wouldn't fall down the stairs. Not that they can, but realism. And I thought that this bed from Seasons matched the color scheme so beautifully, so I was really excited about that. I also used the same lamp that I used downstairs, which is also from Vampires. And then I am just cluttering up the bedside table with all sorts of things, some plants, some jewelry. I got a little gnome on the floor, and I'm just realizing I forgot a fence piece right there as well. And the railing just starts going down without a fence. It doesn't look that bad, though. I don't think it bothers me that much, but I just realized I didn't fix that, and I already uploaded this to the gallery. So a little mistake that is present in the gallery upload, but not one that alters functionality at all, and it's barely noticeable in my opinion. Anyway, I am cluttering up our dresser in here. I also got a planter so your Sims can grow some stuff in here, and I should be getting some decorative plants as well. These baskets from Cats and Dogs that have some beautiful flowers in them. And then we should be moving into the bathroom where I used the new sink from the pack, and then the shower and the toilet are both from the Sleek bathroom kit. I just thought they worked kind of nicely in here. They're super modern, not that the sink is, but I feel like you can kind of pair it with modern and it works because it's such a unique shape, the basin anyway. I also ended up using some beautiful artwork on the wall of these flowers from Vampires, and yeah, just decorating with a couple more accessories. We end up getting some bathrobes in here, a full-length mirror, I think some like sponges and stuff in the shower, and that should be pretty much it for this space. And then we'll be heading outside to finish up the landscaping, which it's kind of odd. I almost never wait to landscape till the end of a build. I always do that before I decorate the interior. But for some reason on this one, I was really excited to get inside. I think it's because I really wanted to use all of the purple swatches. So now we are finally getting to our landscaping, and I pull out so many different items and try different things, and some of them were just like too bright and not working, even though they were the ones around this lot. And I chose this lot in particular because I liked the idea of the dark fairy being like over a bridge secluded in this tree. I thought it was kind of fun. But yeah, because I was trying to get some of these other plants to work, I cut out some of the process because I just had so many plants scattered around the lot, and I was trying things and deleting things and moving things around. So you saw part of that, but here is when I realized I want some of these darker plants and this like shorter tree and low-lying flowers that have some of that purple swatch in them. And I think it ends up being super cute. I just wanted it to feel a little bit overgrown, and it's secluded over here. One thing that I wasn't sure if I wanted to add, which I do end up adding a couple of them towards the end, is some like full-size trees, because it looks a little bit odd because we're kind of in a tree. But at the same time, there's also a flat lot here, so it makes sense that other trees could grow on the tree, and I think there are some, but it just felt a little odd. I do add two, but it does take me a little while to come to that conclusion. But with that, we are coming to the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and click that bell to be notified when I upload. And thank you to my YouTube members for all of your support. If you'd like to become a member yourself, you can click the join button below the video or the link in the description. Enjoy the screenshots, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye everyone.